Welcome to the Book of Life, a show about Jewish books, music, film, and web. I'm Heidi Estrin. You're listening to musician and author Yael Strom playing his violin at the Book Expo America conference. After playing a tune for the crowd, he autographed copies of his picture book, The Wedding That Saved a Town. We'll hear about his book and lots of other Jewish picture books in today's episode. I recorded lots of live interviews at Book Expo, so many in fact that I'll be posting a series of 4 episodes from this material. Today we'll hear about picture books. In future episodes, we'll hear about books for older kids and teens, adult books, and books for all ages about the Holocaust. You'll hear the excited buzz of thousands of book junkies in the background, and I hope it'll give you a you are there feeling. I freaked out a lot of publishers when I stuck my microphone in their faces, and I really do want to thank everyone who participated for being a good sport. I usually got the person to introduce themselves, but it got cut off in the first recording, so let me explain that first we'll hear from Laura Mancuso at Tricycle Press about The Yankee at the Seder. Check the show notes at bookoflifepodcast.com for information on all of the books you'll be hearing about. I think you'll want to add many of them to your shopping list. Okay, now let's hear about The Yankee at the Seder.
All right! So yeah, I'm thrilled about this book. This is The Yankee at the Seder. And I have to say, I just was sort of snooping around at bookstores this past Passover, and there's just nothing. I mean, this is just a whole new level of Passover book. I think it's amazing. And that's not all it is. So it's about this boy. The Civil War has just ended. Lee has just surrendered. And this boy is really unhappy. He's in the South. And he's frustrated, and he doesn't think they should have surrendered. And they're saying that the South lost, and he's kind of angry about that. And he sees a Yankee soldier walking toward him down the street. And as he's thinking about what he's going to say to this Yankee soldier to let him know that they don't all surrender, the Yankee soldier observes that he's eating some matzah and says he's Jewish and it's Passover and he doesn't have anywhere to go. And so to the dismay of this child, his mother says, please join us for our Seder. So in he comes.
Wow, the art is gorgeous.
The art is phenomenal. This is Adam Gustafson, who's done a couple of other books for us, and the research that he does it's funny because he's so good at researching what he's doing that we've had this vetted by Civil War historians and military specialists, and he's actually gotten into some pretty, I don't want to say fights, but some heated debates about where his information is coming from and where they're getting their information. I mean, he's very committed to making sure that all of the details are spot on. So anyway, down they sit to dinner, and the most amazing thing about this book is here they are talking about freedom from slavery and these themes of, isn't this a wonderful thing? Tonight we celebrate, we look back in our ancestors' freedom from slavery, yet they are Southerners who are upset that they've lost the war and that the slaves are going to be free.
Right.
And so there's this one Yankee sort of representing the Northern perspective. And they have just some really fascinating discussions at the dinner table, and I think well, first of all, children who aren't familiar with Passover will learn about that. And then also what the Civil War was about. It's a true story. Well, it's based on true events. We'll have back matter with information about the true story, and that the Yankee, I believe he was from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia perhaps. Yeah, Meyer Levy. Anyway, it's just a phenomenal book, and I know there's nothing like it. And I'm so thrilled about this book. I can't wait to sell it. We did a read aloud in our office, and I was getting all teary. I mean, it's just, it's very poignant. It's a wonderful story. So
I like what Haley said when I said I'm with the Cindy Taylor Book Award. She said, well, we have the winner right here. So.
We do have the winner. This has got to be it. I mean, it's just, I don't think there's anything like it.
It's definitely beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Hi, Heidi. I'm Marjorie Kyler from Marshall Cavendish. We've talked before, and I'm really happy to see you at Book Expo. And I thought you might be interested in some of the new projects we have lined up since our last discussion. So some of your listeners might remember Cakes and Miracles by Barbara Diamond, Golden.
I'm sure they will.
That book was published in 1991, and it's a Purim story. And we're bringing that back into print, but with new artwork. And we also have a book this fall called The Hanukkah Mice by Stephen Crowell. Oh, we're bringing back for sure now Rabbi and the 29 Witches.
Oh, hooray!
That was not absolutely in the bag the last time we talked, but now we've completed the negotiations and everything. So that book will be on our fall '09 list. So keep tuned. Keep going to our website, marshallcavendish.us/kids, for more news about upcoming Judaica projects.
I'm Peggy Tierney. I'm with Tanglewood Press, and the new book that we're coming out with in October is The Miracle Jar. It's a Hanukkah story written by Audrey Penn, who wrote a #1 bestseller called The Kissing Hand that most librarians in schools know. But she wanted to write a story inspired by her grandparents who came over from Eastern Europe. So the story is actually about a family that's back in Eastern Europe. They're snowed in, and the parents are telling their children the story of the original miracle. And then the mother realizes that she is very, very low on oil to cook all the holiday treats. So they decide they're going to try to have their own miracle. They set up a miracle jar and put the oil in it to see if they can make it last all 8 days. And it was very, very low. It was very worrisome, but they go through the 8 days, and finally on the last day, they actually manage to make the oil last because the mother takes a cloth and wipes out the last bit of oil in the jar, and it was just enough to make the last treat. So it's just a lovely story. It has really warm illustrations. The family looks like they have a lot of love for each other, and it's just a really feel-good, warm, fuzzy book for the holidays.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Audrey Mitnick from Sleeping Bear Press, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about a new book we're getting ready to release in September, A is for Abraham, a Jewish family alphabet. The book is beautifully illustrated and written in a 2-tier format, which means poetry for young readers and expository sidebar text for older readers. But it really gives a wonderful picture of Jewish culture, history, traditions, and is a starting point for education and discussion among both Jewish families and non-Jewish families or blended families. The author's note beautifully describes what he's trying to accomplish in the book. And the author's note ends with, like a choir sounds best when it blends different voices, Jews should applaud Jews who've made different choices. The author is Richard Michelson, and the book is illustrated by Ron Mazzellin.
I'm Judy Groner, the editorial director of Carbon Publishing, which is now part of Lerner Books in Minneapolis.
Okay, so
Jody's Hanukkah dig. It's about a little girl whose father's an archaeologist, and he takes her to dig in Modin. It's a very sweet little story. For Hanukkah, we also have Harvest of Light, which is a photo essay about the olive harvest in Israel, pictures of a little girl who helps her parents harvest olives. Then they take them and press them into oil to light the Chanukiah. Engineer Ari is going to come out in time for Rosh Hashanah. Debbie Bowden-Cohn wrote that one. It's about the first train that went from Jaffa to Jerusalem. This is in the late 1800s, and the train actually went around the time of Rosh Hashanah.
I'm sure everybody wants to know what the next Sammy Spider's going to be.
The next Sammy Spider is Sammy Spider's first day at school, and the theme is kindness to animals. And this is the first time that anybody actually notices Sammy Spider. So that's he's outed, right? And we now have stuffed Sammy Spiders.
That little spider you just gave me is adorable,
right.
The multicolored stuffed animal spider.
He's very cute, and he's available.
So you're branching out of holidays with Sammy Spider?
We're branching out of holidays, yes. We've been talking to Sylvia about doing a Sammy Spider cookbook, and we'll see what happens with that. And,
okay. Any other exciting new stuff we should know about?
Sarah Lance is the second in our Bible series, written by Jacqueline Jules and illustrated by Natasha Uglianu. Abraham's Search for God was the first one. I think they're beautiful. Sarah's coming out now. Benjamin and the Silver Goblet will come out next year. And she's now working on Miriam in the Desert.
Great, so that's going to be an ongoing series
with
different Bible characters.
Series with different Bible characters. And we're trying to do stories that haven't been done before.
Right, very good.
I'm Barbara Fish from Hope Mifflin Harcourt, and we have an exciting book in Spring '09 by Mark Podwell. I believe the title is Built by Angels. It's about the oldest synagogue, and it takes place in the Czech Republic. With full-color illustrations, it's about 56 pages, meant for readers ages 6 and up. And it's a story of the synagogue that was built in the 1400s and has lived through the Inquisition and many, times of the Jewish people, and has survived and is now celebrating its 500-year anniversary.
Very cool.
I'm Elliot Kreloff, and I'm the associate publisher of Blue Apple Books. And the book that we're publishing that will be out this November is called Hanukkah Haiku, and it's written by Harriet Ziefert, and the paintings are by Carla Gudjon. Each spread is about a different night in the 8 nights of Hanukkah. There's this beautiful painting and a haiku written about that night. And as you turn the page, there's a menorah on the right-hand side. And as you turn the page, a second candle gets lit. And each time you turn the page,
oh, I see. The pages reduce in size.
That's right. The pages are stepped. So that as you go through the book, each spread, another candle is lit until all 8 candles are lit.
You were telling me before about how you found the artist. Tell me that again.
We try to find people that don't normally do children's books, but who we think could do a children's book. So we go to the gift show or the toy show, and we're constantly shopping in stores and looking for just other things. So Harriet actually was up in Boston, and she happened to go into a gallery where she saw Carla's art, and beautiful paintings on handmade paper of Jewish traditional stories. And we thought her work would be a natural for a book about Hanukkah. And we'd had this idea for a book for a long time, but we were looking for the right artist. And she actually did a wonderful job and has now created all of the artwork so that it can be framed and sold as paintings.
Nice.
And she's a delight to work with. And now we're trying to figure out what's our next book with her.
That's great.
So we're cogitating.
Will you read us a haiku?
Sure.
What's your favorite haiku in the book?
I like the one about the money.
Let's hear that one.
5 candles tonight. Uncle gives a gift of gelt. The coins are shiny. Yeah, and the thing I think that's also nice about doing a haiku, there are so many books about Hanukkah out there. And we felt that in kind of like a subtle way, it's a little bit about multiculturalism in that, haiku is Asian and the two cultures kind of, touching each other in a way, and it's about the Jewish culture all over the world.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, this is Terry Borzamato from Holiday House, and I am so pleased to tell you about a wonderful new book coming this fall, The Mysterious Guest, a Sukkot story. It's by Eric Kimmel, and it has gorgeous illustrations by Katja Krenina.
Let me ask you, why did you guys decide to publish a Sukkot book? Because we need them badly, but, of course, the market for Sukkot books is not very big. What made you decide to go with it?
It basically started with Eric. Eric always has done wonderful retellings, and it was his idea to have a Sukkot story. And we have actually gotten wonderful feedback on it because there aren't very many Sukkot stories out there. And we've done so many books on Judaica over the years that when Eric decided to do this one, we wanted to support him as well.
Okay, great. And I saw when looking through it that kind of like his classic Holiday House book, Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins, it looks like it's a little bit spooky.
It is, just a little bit. Just a little bit, it is. So.
Okay, excellent.
My name is Yale Strom. I'm an artist in residence at San Diego State University in the Jewish Studies Department.
Okay, Yale, you want to tell us about your new book?
Sure. It's called A Wedding That Saved a Town, and it's coming out this fall. A fictionalized story of something that really happened. I actually see it as a story that could not only be the children's story that it is, but even a play or even an adult sort of version, as in the Dybbuk. Because when you mix music, Jewish traditions, mystery, and cemetery, that's kind of like, wow,
Explain how the wedding saves the town.
Well, the wedding saves the town. Simply, it's a cholera epidemic. They try praying harder, a little fasting, singing psalms. Rabbi, what can we do? And finally, he's just throwing his, hands up in the air and thinks, well, I think if we do one of the greatest mitzvahs, perhaps this plague, this magepa, this plague will be rid of. And what is that? What are some of the loneliest people? So they bring an orphan boy and orphan girl together, and they bring him to marriage in the cemetery, though. So the chuppah, the wedding canopy, and the music, all that is done in the cemetery by perhaps the loved ones that are buried there or their spirits, so to speak. A couple weeks later, the plague lifts, and Yiska, who is our protagonist, gets a telegram. Yiska, thank you so much. Your music had performed a miracle.
So he was the klezmer.
Yeah, Yiska Labushnik.
Okay.
I named him, and Labushnik actually means klezmers had their own slang of over 600 words.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Just like jazz cats have their own words, like the word cat or gig. Klezmer musicians did, and it's very interesting. Why? So they could speak among themselves that the person at the party wouldn't know what they're talking about. Labuch was meant to play, and they took the word Labushnik. So Labushnik is as a klezmer. So I like that name, Yiska, and Labushnik is just kind of a cool name, you know.
So people actually performed these cemetery weddings?
They were called Schwarze Chasanis, black weddings in the cemetery. Oh yeah, this is not made up. I'm not saying it happened often, but I actually have found several accounts of this really happening, where we have the real names of the musicians, real people that got married.
Was it just for cholera, or did it work for other things?
That's a good question. Probably typhoid and typhus, but cholera, as they would say, right? As we use the epitaph in Yiddish. That was probably one of the major ones.
I schlepped up and down every aisle at Book Expo, but I'm sure I still missed a few Jewish books. If you know about other brand new or forthcoming titles that you didn't hear about in today's episode, please post a comment on our website at bookoflifepodcast.com or email me at bookoflifepodcast@gmail.com. The Book of Life is supported in part by the Association of Jewish Libraries, tending the tree of knowledge and promoting Jewish reading by supporting Judaic libraries and librarians. Visit them on the web at jewishlibraries.org. Our background music is provided by the Freilach Makers Klezmer String Band from Sacramento, California, whose CDs feature upbeat music from Ashkenazic and Sephardic traditions with Brazilian, Gypsy, and Celtic influences. Borrow their CDs at the Feldman Library or buy your own copies at freilachmakers.com. To download episodes of the Book of Life podcast, visit us on the web at bookoflifepodcast.com. Links to the books mentioned on the show are available on this website. You can also hear the latest episode by phone. Just call 916-313-3820. Thanks for listening, and happy reading.